the sake of starting, I'll just start by introducing myself and our little show. Welcome everybody. This is Jerry Pujals, your host and one of your hosts at the Napa Real Estate Podcast in the beautiful Napa Valley. And I'll pass it on to whoever wants to go next. Who wants to talk about themselves?
Hilda. Hello, I'm Hilda Hensley, and I am a longtime friend and business partner with Jerry and Susan. I have been in the mortgage business for about 25 years and have been doing business in Napa in the state of California that whole time. And I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you, Hilda.
Thank you.
And I'm Susan Pujals, and I'm obviously Jerry's wife and a realtor, co-owner of Homestead Real Estate. I work with buyers and sellers, and this is Windsor. Windsor's in trouble today.
Yeah, we don't want to say why.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What did Windsor do?
Pee-peed in the house. Yeah. He knows he's on my list.
So with that being said, one of the things that I can tell you guys, Hilda, you definitely will need a better mic.
Okay.
I think, Susan, are you using your mic now or no? I think yours sounds pretty good, but we should probably get Irisham to judge that on the other side of it. So don't worry about it yet till Irisham does post editing and he'll tell us what we need. And I really appreciate that because he's getting really good at it. So one of the things that I thought we talk about today is the Napa real estate market as it is and what we see right now. But I don't want much of an agenda, you guys. I want a loose episode today. I like to go for what you guys are seeing. We're right up against the New Year's, and I feel excited about what's happening now and how many calls we're getting for people that are ready to put their homes on the market in the Napa Valley. And also how many buyers are saying, oh, finally, something positive is happening for us and we might just get in. I do not wish to make this sales show. This has nothing to do with us trying to capture somebody to do business with us. This is for information purposes only. And this is really because I love the both of you and I just want to hang out with you. This is really where it comes from. It has very little to do with a commission dollar. This has more to do with just talking to you guys about the industry that we all chose and that we all like, and just be loose with it. So let's pretend that nobody's listening. That's really it. Let's just really pretend that nobody's listening.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things that I'll jab at Hilda a little bit first, because I always wish from my side of the coin that Hilda would just leave lending and get into real estate sales. Because Hilda and I had, before Susan was ever in the business, Hilda and I had a team together, and that team broke all my records. I mean, we did the biggest sales volume I've probably had in my career when I was sort of a solo agent out there. When Hilda came on board, what we were able to do and put together was nothing short of staggering. I think it broke numbers for home sales in the Napa Valley for a long time. I still don't know how many people sell over 100 homes per year in Napa. I don't know that there's anybody that sells over 100 homes a year, 15 years later. How long was it? It's 18 years ago, maybe, when you and I worked together?
18. It's exactly 18 years ago.
Wow. Oh, because nobody's going to listen to this. Why lending? Why? And you and I have talked a little bit about this. I'd like to dig a little deeper. What do you dislike about what I do so much that you left me?
Now, okay, so let's go back 18 years and remember what real estate sales were like 18 years ago. And it was pre online So buyers had no opportunity to see homes before they saw the listing, the numbers, the details of the listing. They didn't see all these beautiful pictures online. They didn't see the photography. You got in your car with every one of those buyers to see every home, and it was exhausting.
Remember all the paper? All the paper you'd carry around too with all the listings so you could like read your notes and oh my goodness.
Oh, and let's take it a step further. There wasn't Google Maps.
Nope.
So you spent half your time plotting out how you were going to get to the next listing and it was exhausting, absolutely exhausting. So to me, lending that can be the biggest challenge in a real estate transaction, and definitely the most intricate and complicated, in my opinion, was way easier than all that with showing homes. And the emotional roller coaster that you guys go through with those buyers, we experience it on our side, but not to the same extent that you guys experience it. And the disappointment of, in a competitive market, because we were in a really competitive market back then, the disappointment of people getting attached to a property and then getting beat out, that roller coaster was just, I didn't have the bandwidth for it. So
Wow, that's new to me, Hilda. I never realized that. I knew there was something that attracted you to lending, but I never knew. And I remember how successful and how many transactions you did that year. I mean, it was staggering. I mean, you were not a top producer. You were like what's considered now a mega producer. Your first year out of the gate, you were like a superstar mega producer. And even at that, you realized at the end of it, this is a lot of work, which is, it leads me into how little the consumer knows of what a true professional goes through in the business of real estate to do that job well.
To do it well, it's exhausting. I watched Susan, over the years now, since she's gotten in the business as an agent, and the journey that you go through, Susan, with your clients, and the intimate relationship that's developed because you are living their life while they're going through this process, before and after. Sometimes you get so entrenched in their world that it's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, that's interesting that you touched on that. And the journey sometimes can be long. And then sometimes it can be short. And it's interesting that I miss my clients when the transaction is done. It's like, oh, I feel super blessed to work with the clients that I work with. I really, really do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you fight so hard for your clients, and and maybe fight's not the right word, but you advocate so much, and you live their journey with them.
Yeah.
Right, okay, I'm gonna put the sales alert. I'm gonna put the sales alert flag right now.
Oh,
We're going
Is
into
it a red light or a green light?
a little bit of a red light. I'm gonna say, let's get off the podium of impressing people that are listening to this to consider working with us, because it's not a commercial. However, I will say that I totally get why you would say what you say, Hilda. And what Susan is saying is so true, because she painfully lives the experience with the client, and I get to be on the other side of that. And I will say, not all agents are made equal, because not all agents do that. And again, I'm going to be honest. I don't know that the fact that Susan does that is good for Susan. You know, I'm going to say that at times it's really hard, and at times she gets her feelings hurt. You know, when somebody just doesn't quite. You know, an example is uh, clients who are friends the other day, and we've been working with them for over a year to help them come up with a price on the home that they're going to sell to move out of state. And you know, I think we have a handle on what homes go for in the Napa Valley. They're right in that $900,000 price point on a good day, but they probably think it's more like 1.1. And they're really stuck on their number because they're engineer minded, they're rational, but rational only goes so far. They're also very emotional because the rational comparables that they're pulling are irrational, if that makes sense. So we try our hardest to help people gain knowledge through our experience of being in the trenches, but sometimes people just don't want to hear it.
Mhm.
And it's okay. So Susan and I treat those things differently. Susan wants to continue to work through that process and help the person understand that she's going to be there no matter what. If the person chooses to go 1.1, 1.2 and start working their way down, Susan has the bandwidth for that. To which point I ask, is that fair to Susan? Because it's a lengthy process. You know, the consumer still gets upset when their house doesn't sell on time. You know, if it doesn't meet their goals and expectations as to where they're going to move to in a certain period of time, the consumer will still look at you and say, what are you not doing to get my property sold? Because in their eyes, at that point, it cannot be the price, because they're already have their mind made up that they know what they're doing, and that's the right price, and that should be what their home is worth. As to my style, is more if we can't align, and if we don't align, it's okay. I've never been attached to the outcome, and that has served me well, because again, I always say we have 350 5-star reviews because we also understand who we should align with and who has the capacity to fully trust us. Because if the consumer that we're working with does not fully trust us, then I question, should we be working together? And I'm just curious as to how either one of you or both of you grapple with those words.
Boy, that's a lot of words.
So, and
You
we
lost me 5 minutes ago.
it's the sign that's blinking red.
Am I selling? Am I selling?
Oh,
shoot. I am not.
definitely. That was a commercial. That's a wrap. Cut.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I went there.
you went there.
Yeah, I guess I did go there because we've all had those conversations before with each other, and who is the customer that we can better serve? And maybe this is just a conversation that we really continue forward without feeling like anybody's listening. You know,
Yeah.
who can we best serve?
I think that there's different personality styles. There's different, I'll call it patient levels. There's different ways that we all nurture people. There's different sales tactics. There's all of that. And I'm probably a lot more patient with the process, I think, than possibly you are, Jerry. And I'm not saying that one's right and one's wrong. They're two different styles. My goal, obviously, is to get the property sold for my client, but then also be able to listen to what their wants and needs are. And you know what? Sometimes they're not wrong. You know, as we know, it's, you know, what is a buyer willing to pay? What's a buyer looking for? You know, and sometimes, I mean, we've been surprised either way, right? Where we think, oh, shoot, we went out a little high, but then we got multiple offers.
Yeah.
And then we thought, oh, we hit it right on the head. And then we're having to do a small price reduction to regenerate the activity, right? So, I mean, it's kind of it's a real estate knowledge, but it's also a lot of what is the buyer looking for out there right now, today? Yeah.
So
Well,
you,
and from my perspective, what I see all the time, here's a great example of what a buyer thinks they want and then what they end up with. So I had a client that closed recently, and I'd been working with this client for well over a year, and they made multiple offers throughout the year, and probably actually it was probably more like a year and a half. So let's say they made 7 offers during that year and a half. Each and every one of them in a competitive market, they came in at or below the asking price. Frustrating as all get out for the agent and for us, because, you jump through all the hoops to get, make sure that there's a pre-approval letter, that their pre-approval's updated, that nothing's changed, all the stuff that goes into this. And they're not going to be successful because in a competitive market, those offers were never going to be accepted. Those buyers closed on a property that they paid over the asking price. The property appraised for $100,000 below what they were paying, but the property was right for them. So all the machinations that we went through for a year and a half led them to this house that you would never have thought that they would ever be in that situation, overpaying over the list price and $100,000 over the appraised value.
And the interest rate was probably a lot higher.
Double from where we started. Double.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I was laughing to myself a minute ago. Well, I think I was sort of laughing out loud too. It explains why Susan's been married to me for 35 years, because she has
so patient.
Yep. And it explains why you and I have been friends for almost 25 years. Same exact, but I'm bum. Touche, ladies. I get it. I get it. I get it. My
So can you imagine Susan approaching a buyer or a seller the way you do?
No,
No,
not in a million years.
it's not natural.
Not natural.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Right.
And the same client could work with both of those personality types very easily, but will probably align better with one or the other.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Personality styles, right? Some people need a little more nurturing, and then some people need to really have a bottom line. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Hilda does a beautiful job when Hilda refers us clients. She knows. And I think not just in our company, but if Hilda's going to refer a client to somebody, Hilda knows instinctively who they will probably work best with. And I think that's another superpower that you guys have, is how to align people with the right people, the right personality to work through things. So I just continue to learn from you two. That's really it. I just continue.
Well, we learn from you too, Jerry.
Oh, thank you. I know.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that 80% of what I've learned is probably from watching you and listening to you over the years, even before I started selling real estate. So, but you also have to develop your own skills and your own personality style of how you work with people.
Yeah.
I have a list of questions here that I sent to you guys earlier, but we're not going to necessarily dive into any one of them. But I am going to glance over them just to see if there's any that kind of just take us down a path that somebody might find interesting, if in fact there is anybody listening. Um,
I can probably take a couple of those questions if you want.
Yeah, I like that the top one. How about that top one where it says, in your experience, what distinguishes the Napa Valley real estate market from other regions, and how does this uniqueness impact buyers and sellers? So that's kind of a nice, simple question to address the market that we're so lucky to not only work in, but also live in.
You know what? I'd love for Hilda to speak to that one, or even you.
That's called deflecting in podcast land.
Well, I can, from my perspective, I can address it. Just
We have a taker, Susan.
so right off the bat, it's hard to convince an underwriter that you're buying a second home or a vacation home in Fresno, California. Never had to address that issue in Napa.
No.
In other communities, and nothing against Fresno, but it's not a destination. Don't want to offend anybody from Fresno. But other communities don't have the lure of this Napa Valley. And from an appraisal standpoint, our values hold steady. The Great Recession, yes, we took a hit, but we took less of a hit for a shorter amount of time than other communities around the state or in other states. We have just been a solid, good investment because of the wine industry, because of our proximity to skiing, the ocean, everything, the city. We're so fortunate in this valley, and even surrounding, Sonoma Valley, that we're a destination.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the weather.
Oh, yeah.
Hard to beat the weather. We don't have really any extreme weather like a lot of other places do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that all plays into why people love to come here. Every time of the year, every season that we have is a beautiful time of the year here.
It really is.
Yeah. Now, Jerry might complain that it's a little too cold right now.
Here we go.
He's lost so much weight that he doesn't have any body fat to keep him warm.
Right.
I have body fat. Yeah. Might be able to hide it from others, from you. Speaking of which, January 7, I'm going in for my DEXA scan to do my body composition. If anybody wants to join me that day, there might be a couple of openings in Mill Valley. It's a good way to start out the year.
Is that one of those machines like they used to have that you stand on and it no?
No, these are almost like they look almost like a CAT scan or an MRI machine. It scans over you. It takes 15 minutes. It's in and out really quick. Okay. And some of these are in they do have a location in San Francisco, but they do have vans all over the place that move from place to place, and they're scattered all over the place. But the one in Mill Valley is the closest. It's really close. And it's very inexpensive. It's only like $50 for the scan.
And you said it takes 50 minutes or 15 minutes?
Not even 15. It's like 10 minutes, maybe 10, 12 minutes. Yeah, it's super fast. You just get in and out, and within a few minutes, you get an email with your scan. You get to see yourself laying on the table, and it shows you in different colors which areas and where the pockets of fat are hiding in our bodies, and really fascinating. I think it's good as we get older it tells you about bone density, muscle mass, and fat. And I've been doing it now for almost a year, and I do them every 3-4 months, and you see the progression, and then you see the setbacks in certain areas, and you just kind of know where you need to modify. But it's Talk about going in with eyes wide open. Going back to our Napa Real Estate Podcast here.
Yeah, I know. You went off on the BMI.
Oh, wrong podcast.
I could probably speak to the rise of remote work and have we
Yes,
noticed
that's what I was hoping you'd go. Yes.
buyer preferences here in Napa. Definitely a shift when all the remote work started happening. Buyers were very specific about what they wanted. They wanted more of a residential kind of vacation lifestyle, because since we were in lockdown, or I won't call it lockdown, but we were in the middle of COVID, and people wanted to move from the Bay Area so that they could live a little more relaxed. And so they were looking for, backyards that had pools. I mean, I've never sold so many properties with pools. It was really, really important that they had recreation in their backyard. An extra bedroom. Sold a lot of 4 and 5 bedroom houses, or houses with casitas where the buyers could work from home. That was super, super important. So they didn't really want to do work on the property either. They wanted things that were turnkey. And part of the reason was they didn't want disruption in their lives because they had to work from home, and because cost of construction became so outrageous too. So there were a lot of different shifts that happened like during that time. Now I think it's a little bit different. People are a little more willing to get 90% of what they want, and then the other 10% they can, do later or do as they please, so to speak, at a time that works for them. But definitely was a way different market, I feel.
Susan, let me ask you a question. Have you, any of those clients that, because we were inundated here with people coming from the city, not just San Francisco, but other big cities as well.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any feedback of people that have had any regret or like, I want to get out of here. I don't like it.
So I've only had one client that moved here during the pandemic, and they were from the East Coast, and their roots were there. And they said it was really, really hard for them to make friends and establish like a group of people that they felt connected to. And I wish they would have waited. They waited the 2 years, and then they went back. They went back to North Carolina, where they're from. And I think the isolation was really hard for them.
Yeah.
That's really the only one client that we've had, and they're super social people. So it kind of surprised me, but I think that I would say 50% of it was the gain that they made in selling their house with the few things that they did, and things just really accelerated through COVID. And I think that 50% of it was, they cashed out over here, and they did really well. So I think it was a 50-50. Yeah, 50-50. Those are the only clients that I worked with during that whole time that felt that way. Most people have loved it here. I don't really know of anybody that's planning on moving. Some of them have had to go back to work.
Yeah.
But they've kept their place here because they love it here.
Yeah.
So
that's my experience as well. I haven't had anybody that specifically moved during COVID that has regretted their move.
Yeah. Just one.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Hilda.
Oh, I was just gonna say it, and it never ceases to amaze me because I believe Napa has become more multicultural, more diverse in a lot of ways. There's more entertainment. The music scene has exploded,
Mhm.
and there just seems to be more of everything that would attract young couples, young older couples, young families. Our parks are beautiful. I don't know if you guys saw it. Somebody told me that Kimberly posted that there's 36 public parks, and I think it's 36, and they made a goal, her and her 2-year-old son, to visit every one of them in 2023.
Oh,
And
that's
they
so
hit
cool.
every park, and they
Yeah.
took pictures, and she made notes on what was great about it. And so that's a lot of parks, little community parks with equipment for young kids to go and enjoy.
Yeah, I saw
Let's
that.
steal,
I
let's,
thought that
let's
was
steal,
really
let's
sweet.
steal that idea, Susan. Let's steal that. That's a great idea.
I know we visited probably the majority of them. I was just gonna say, Hilda and I,
Oh,
we grew up here, right?
Yes.
There are a lot more parks now. There used
A
to be a
lot
lot of
more.
tot lots, but there are definitely a lot more parks. I think having kids, raising our kids here, and then having grandkids, I have a feeling we've probably been to every single park, and that's why I wanted to look at the list just
Yeah,
to see.
yeah.
Have we? Yeah.
I'd be
we're not
surprised,
talking about parks from 100 years ago.
Susan, I'd be surprised if you had been to every single one of them, because when you start thinking about all those neighborhood parks that you know, one in your old neighborhood that is a fairly new park that has really nice equipment, nice, swings and slides and play structure, and
Or it's safer.
yeah,
Yes,
oh,
definitely,
much safer.
Oh, please
definitely.
get
I
us that
agree.
list. Can we get a hold of that list? I want that list.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah, she posted. Yeah, yeah.
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
yeah, it's really cool. It's a really neat idea.
I love it.
I was like, gosh, you could do like a little like a great video that you could compile everything together of the experience.
I like that word, experiences.
Yeah.
My word this year, Hilda, for 2024.
Is it?
Yeah,
I love it, Susan.
yeah. What's your word? If you had to pick a word, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
If I had to pick a word, can't steal your word because I love that word.
I need to.
What?
You might need to steal it.
Yeah, maybe. Renewal.
Renewal. I like that word. Yeah.
Adventures, things like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good word. I think that was similar to someone in our family that had something similar, but it was 2 words. I like that word, renewal.
Renewal.
Yeah. What was your word, Jerry?
Jesus criminy, I forgot.
Come on.
I forgot my word.
No, I think it was 2 words. And you were like, no, it's okay to have 2.
yeah,
He's
thank you.
making his own rules.
Thank you, thank you. I told Hilda my word is I need to really practice it. I might actually get a tattoo of it. Let them, like my grandfather used to say, deja la gente, let people be. Just let people be. Just people are people, and we're all people. That's all we are. We do what we
Yeah.
do.
You
Yeah.
can have one word, let them.
Let them. I might just go with let them. Well, let them comes from an episode I watched on the Robin. What's her name?
Mel Robbins.
Mel Robbins,
Oh,
and she has this theory of let them. Just let people.
just let them.
Just say let them. You're off the hook, and you get to live a much more peaceful existence if you just.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get it tattooed on your knuckles. Let them.
Yeah.
That way you can see it.
Good one, Susan.
Susan, but I got to tell you what Susan wants to do for New Year's Day, which I'm memorializing now by putting it on.
Oh, you're not supposed to say anything.
Oh, I'm so gonna say, because I already told Jerry Jr. that you said he's all in. Susan wants to do a cold plunge January 1st.
Really?
And I'm thinking of leveling it up because, you know, Jerry's swimming pool, Jerry doesn't have the heater on at his pool right now.
Well, there's no heater at ours either.
There's no heater at all. Ours and Hilda, I'm thinking we can do 3 cold plunges that day. If Hilda joins us on that thing for that morning, I think everybody should start out the year with a cold plunge.
You're changing the dynamics of my idea.
I am. I'm taking it to.
Okay, well now you're going to be extreme. Remember, I'm a toe tipper.
Yeah, you only have to do one.
I'm going to do one.
You're going to do one. I'm
going to do one. You want to be a topper. You want to be a topper.
I need to be a topper,
right, Hilda?
I need to be a topper.
So you're going to do one at your house, go to Jerry Jr.'s house, and then come to my house?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to do January 1st. It's not that I think that's what I'm going to do. If you give me permission, that is what I'm going to do. Jerry said yes. I have my pool here.
You are welcome. And if I'm still asleep, that you
just leave the cover off.
Oh my gosh.
My window.
Yeah. Hey, like George Costanza, Hilda, like George Costanza would say on Seinfeld, you're not going to see much.
It was cold.
It was cold.
Good with that.
All right.
Well, people, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.
Hey, we're thinking after you do your cold plunge, you're not invited, Jerry, but we're going to do a fish fry on New Year's Day, Susan.
Oh, how fun. Are you guys?
Yeah.
So sweet. What do you want me to bring?
Yourself.
Well, I can bring something, wine, or well, not like you need more wine, but yeah. I think we're all stocked up.
Yeah.
Maybe you can bring the potato salad. You're good at that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because we have from Dana.
Wow.
So we have it has now been frozen. Most of it's now been frozen because, you know, but it's
frozen.
Fresh frozen right in the ocean.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What time?
I'll let me get the schedule.
Okay. I love it.
Okay.
Love it. Anyway.
Hey, you guys.
Happy New Year.
New Year.
Bye.
Bye.